Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mebois Podcast, episode 12. My name is Josh.
And I'm Ray.
I want to start us off today with a little bit of a. Well, I have a story, but also before I say anything else, before I forget, um, we spoke last time about nightmares and some dreams, and I just realized I was looking through some old documents and I saw the fact sheet for um, this blood pressure medication I take. And I noticed in the side effects, one of the common side effects for the medication is nightmares.
I didn't even know that could be a side effect for medication.
Yeah, I, I was just as surprised as you are, because like it's just got like the normal stuff. Because like it can affect people in different ways. So like if it lowers their blood pressure too much, you can be dizzy. Maybe you don't want to operate heavy machinery or something like that. But then all of a sudden, I just saw nightmares. I'm like, really? So maybe it wasn't the blanket at all. Although I've been on that for years, so I don't know. But I feel like I definitely have had more dreams lately.
Maybe it's the combination of the blanket and the medication. It's like if your body temperature is this amount,
Yeah, it reacts with
it'll
the drug.
yeah, it'll trigger the nightmares.
Fucking. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. Um,
That's pretty
but
wild.
speaking of nightmares, yeah, it is. Um, Speaking of nightmares, I went to a wedding on on Friday. Um, so it's always very odd. I mean, gatherings like that where the person getting married was a coworker, and I know her well enough. But in those kind of cases, you end up being around a lot of people you don't really know, and the people you do know are people you work with. So it's a little odd. Um, so I get there. Also, I was pissed because Uber and Lyft and all that, they do surge pricing for like when it's busy.
Yeah.
And so this place was kind of far away, and I was at work getting ready to go over there, and um, so I saw like it was surge pricing, and so even with a discount that I had, it was going to be like something like $30 to get there because it was busy. And I'm like, oh fuck that.
Jeez.
So I waited a little bit, and then it stopped being busy, so it was like $15. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Whoa,
Um,
that's a big
yeah,
difference.
it was a huge difference. I don't know because it was around when people were getting out of work, so I guess there was like a brief break in there.
Oh, yeah.
But then
On a
at that
Friday, you
point, I
said?
was like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But at that point, I was like, well, if I go now, then I'll be early, and I don't want to go early to one of these venues. I don't know. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a couple more minutes, and then the price went right fucking back up. Uh, so I ended up paying way more for Ubers than I wanted to that night. But that's not the bad part. Um, so I get there. Not too many people I know that well. There's going to be a couple other people uh, around my age that I sort of knew. So I was going to wait for them. I was basically sitting with them at like the assigned tables. But at the beginning, we're just at like this bar part with an open bar. So I just go up to the bar so I'm not awkward.
Get
And
fucking sloshed.
yeah, I just get trashed. Um, they didn't have my beer. Um, so I had to drink Heineken, which I hate. Um, but it's
For the audience who may not know, what is your beer, Josh?
uh, Yingling, my dude. Uh, it's great because it's like always the cheapest beer anyway. I mean, this was an open bar, so it didn't matter. But Yingling's good, and they had like it was like Heineken, Bud Light, or Coors Light. Basically, was the only options. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, I
Heineken.
guess I'll have Heineken. Um, so I did that for a bit. Ran into a couple of people um, that I knew from work, and so we're just talking about work basically because that's all we have to talk about. So, long story short, we get in. They open up like the main hall, which is where like all the assigned tables are and whatnot. Because like when you walk in, you get a card that says like, "Oh, you're at table 14 or whatever."
Right, right.
Um, so I get in there, and I was still at the bar for a bit when it had opened. So I get in there a little bit later, and the the people that I know are already sitting at the table, and then like they sort of split it up halfway because the people I know were on the bride's side, and so the tables tend to be like half the bride's side, half the groom's side, just so like they have people like interact.
Right.
And I go up to the table, and so they're all sitting there, and then there's also these other people that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like two seats open, and so I go up to the one, and there's a woman sitting next to it, and so I just ask her like, "Oh, is this seat taken?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, my husband is sitting there." I'm like, "Okay." And so like I go around, and as I'm going around, this other dude like has like his leg in front of the other seat, and so I'm like, "Okay, so that's his seat." So
Wait,
I'm
is
just
he sitting
standing
down?
there. No, he's standing, but he's got like his leg in front of it, like he's gonna be sitting there.
Oh, okay.
Um, Sort of a territory move. He's just standing there pissing on it to mark his territory. Um, and so I'm just standing there talking to people I know. I'm just like standing behind them, and they're like, "Take a seat." I'm like, "Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do." Because I feel awkward enough with these random people I don't know, but then all of a sudden, like, I got to deal with these seating problems. I'm like, oh god,
Right.
like I'd rather just stay at the bar, to be honest with you. Um, so I was like, what, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna get another beer, and then I'll come back, and maybe things will have figured out by then. So I went back, and then I came back. Nope, things aren't any different. But like the husband hasn't sat down or anything in the chair,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, the people that I know keep on telling me to sit down, sit down, sit down, and I'm like, no, no, no. But eventually, I just do sit down in the chair that she said was for her husband, and because this guy was nowhere to be fucking seen,
Uh-huh.
and like I'm assigned to the table. I don't know if it was like I don't know if it was a problem with too many people got assigned to it or just one of them wasn't meant to be there.
Right.
Um, because everyone I knew they were like it was like two couples,
Mm-hmm.
so they were meant to be sitting together. I don't know about the other people, but um, so I sit there and like immediately within like 5 seconds, someone's tapping on my shoulder. It wasn't actually the husband; it was someone else. And he was saying like, "Oh, this guy's sitting there." I'm like, "Okay." So um, we're like trying to figure out, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, it should be fine. We'll just find something else." And so this other kid, who's um, I guess he's an outgoing guy. Um, he just says like, "Just grab another seat from another table." I didn't really want to do that because I didn't know there was like an empty table next to us, but I didn't know if like that was for something or whatever. So anyway, just goes over there and grabs a seat and brings it back. But then like it started this whole chain reaction, right? Because now like there was an uneven amount of like cutlery and like plates and like champagne flutes and shit like that.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, he brings the chair back, and so I just sit in that chair. And now the husband has come back
Mm-hmm.
from this commotion because he was standing talking to them. And so I sit down. He sits down as well, and he like we're both like sitting there basically, and he gets like right up in my face, and he asks me, "How old are you?" And I'm like, what? So I tell him, and he's like, "Oh, that makes sense." And I'm like, I'm looking at him, like, our faces are like maybe like 6 inches apart.
Like smooch
And
territory, basically.
yeah, I could have given him a big smooch. And I was telling someone about this story, but he has what I would describe as a punchable face.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Sure.
like, like the stuff he was saying wasn't as annoying. It's just like he had like this very like arrogant demeanor,
Yeah.
and he had like a very like, I guess I'd sort of describe it as like a posh look. Um, and so he says that, and I'm like looking at him. I'm like, what? And he's like obviously like super annoyed with me, and he's being like kind of aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, what do you mean? And we're just looking at each other, and like he waits a bit, and then he's just like, be polite. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
The hell?
Yeah, like, because like he never even said it, but I'm guessing it was like about the fucking seat thing, which like whatever. But like immediately he got so aggressive out of nowhere with me, who was a complete stranger. Also, we're at a wedding. I don't think he was drinking that much already. Um, but I was just like, what the fuck? And dude, like when even though he didn't say anything that was too like outright like offensive or anything,
Right.
but just his attitude and that face, man, I was like, ooh. For a second, I was thinking like, oh man, but I was like, obviously this is a happy event. This is not my event.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna tell this guy to go fuck himself. Like, I don't need to escalate it.
He's like, come see me outside for a second. I'd like to give you a big, big apology.
I'd like to give you a big hug.
Right to the face.
But yeah, so it's like he sort of like disengaged after that, because I was just like, I wasn't gonna. I don't know what he expected. Like maybe he expected me to like be so embarrassed that like I don't know. I don't know what the fuck the point of saying that was, because like it was awful, because like I get uncomfortable in situations like that, but then also you're thrown in this conflict. Like just in general, if there was no conflict, just like all these people and all these people I don't know, it's a bit like okay. But then also right away there's a problem, and someone's like oh man, it was so like yeah, it was so I was sitting there after that, and I was just like miserable. I was like, man, I fucking, because like I'm all hyped up,
Yeah.
because like I just left it at that because I wasn't gonna like escalate anything. So I was just like, ah, man, that's so annoying. And the people are asking me like, yeah, Josh, what's wrong? Because I'm sure I was real red in the face. Um, I thought about bailing just then, because I'm like, fuck this dude. Like, like I don't want to sit next to this dude for the rest of the night. Um, but anyway, like in an interesting turn, like half an hour or an hour later, I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden he just starts talking to me like normal. Like it, it was funny because I think he basically just did it to try to like flex on me. So he was, among our conversations, he was talking about how he graduated from Columbia, and how he's an architect, and how he owns all these properties and whatnot. And it was just so funny because after that he was being like pretty normal, besides still having that fucking posh asshole vibe to him. It was not a positive vibe. Um, but yeah, it was so weird after that. And it was funny because like even his wife was even looking at us a bit weird when he was being friendly. And so I was like,
You think
what
he
the
just
fuck is
straight up
going on?
forgot?
I don't think he forgot, because like he seemed very purposeful about like how like um what do you call that? Um, how he was like talking down to me basically.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what the fuck the deal was, but yeah, so I was like, okay, fuck it. So I just like talked to him or whatever, and I let him brag.
Be
At the
polite.
end of the night,
I'm an
yeah,
architect who graduated from Columbia. I
yeah,
own 7 properties.
I own you. I own slaves. Oh God,
How old are you,
your family
boy?
probably did. On your knees. Um, yeah, dude. Like, I feel like it doesn't come across right when I tell the story, just because like I can't explain exactly like his tone
Uh-huh.
and whatnot, but just like the fucking be polite shit and how fucking dismissive he was. I was like, oh my God.
That's so. How does it escalate for him that quickly?
Right. And
I'm
like I understand the chair thing, like it's kind of annoying, but like we figured it out in like literally 5 seconds. And
uh-huh.
his friend, who was the guy who was like, oh no, that's his seat, let's figure something else out,
Uh-huh.
he was perfectly fucking friendly, and we figured it out within like a minute.
You think?
So it's just like,
Do you think the friend was so quick to move you because he knows his buddy's
because he
gonna
knows how his
blow his
friend
top?
is. Probably.
He's
I
like,
mean, I
buddy,
could
buddy,
tell.
don't. Easy now.
Dude,
Over here.
yeah, he seems like a real fucking annoying person. Because I could, I was part of some of the other conversations, and just the way he talked, I was just like, okay, this guy's a fucking asshole.
How old was the guy approximately?
I'd say probably like, um,
50?
maybe late 30s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I expected older, honestly.
I mean, maybe if he was in like a real good shape, maybe early 40s, but probably late 30s, I'd guess. Yeah, he looked a bit older, but um, it was just like, it's such a small thing, but just the fact that he like wanted to get that reaction out of me, and like, I don't know, it was a weird thing. Anyway, at the end of the night, people are leaving or whatever, and he like shakes my hand. I'm like, okay, cool.
As he's shaking your hand. Be polite.
Yeah, I should have said that to him actually.
What the fuck?
Um, yeah, like it's such a strange mix because people like, I don't know.
This
That's all
reminds
I'm
me
gonna
of
say
that
about
homeless
that.
dude that wanted to fight me.
What,
Just
the one
go.
that called you ignorant?
No, the old homeless guy who was like, "You got a fucking problem."
Yeah, this was the non-homeless version of that.
Yeah, the
In
exact
fact, this
opposite.
guy probably has many homes.
He even designs them.
Dude, like I can't stress enough. Like after every like sentence he said
Yeah.
about like, oh, I did architecture or whatever, like he had like this little smile on his face, and like, oh my God, I can't explain how annoying of a person this was. I mean, maybe my opinion of him was just soiled from the beginning of the night, but like,
Yeah,
ugh.
really, he's actually a stand-up guy.
Oh yeah,
He was literally standing up when he was supposed to sit down.
yeah. Oh my God. But yeah. So that was. I made sure to mention him like every time I was talking to anybody else that night. Just being like, man, people are crazy.
You just point at him.
Yeah, that guy right there, he's an architect.
He sees you pointing at him. Hey, pointing is rude. Oh man.
Oh man.
You ever get in a situation like that,
Yeah.
and then whatever event's happening keeps going on, and you kind of hope they embarrass themselves in some way?
I mean, not this time, just because like
You were so heated.
I don't want him to mess up my coworker's wedding. But I mean, I didn't pay much attention after that.
Oh,
Um, and I think he was pretty normal for the rest of the night. Actually, you know what? I just remembered something. Um, so while he was talking, I think pretty soon after that or whatever, to the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Um, of course, we're at a wedding. He's talking about like how many marriages end in divorce and whatnot.
What?
And I'm like, oh God, he's one of these guys. Like that's the fucking asshole thing to talk about. Because apparently him and two of the other guys on that side of the table have known the groom since like kindergarten or something. Um, but you know, whatever. It's just like kind of a fucked up thing to mention at this wedding. You saying some other shit too about him. I can't remember what it was, but I was just like, okay, this guy's kind of a fucking asshole.
It's funny that you bring up going to a wedding. There were a couple weddings this weekend here. I didn't go to either of them. I didn't know the people. Like the one I knew, it was someone from high school that I know of, not necessarily know.
Right.
But I was talking to my friend, and she said she was supposed to go to a cousin's wedding.
Two cousins getting married.
So she said the day of that wedding was called off.
Ooh.
Because the bride and groom had fought, and the bride had seen the groom's true colors.
He was black.
She's one of those people that says, I don't see race until that very moment.
That'd be funny if you had an argument with your significant other and they just changed race. So now I see who you truly are.
Sounds like an anime plot point.
Has any anime tried to approach race issues?
Probably not.
Yes, Naruto actually.
I was just like, I thought that stuff only really happened in movies for it to be canceled on the day or the night before, whatever it was.
Well, you know, most marriages end in divorce.
Well, this one didn't even get the chance.
No, but yeah.
Actually, paperwork and all that, they probably were married.
Well, I mean, there's like, I mean, I don't know how it works everywhere, but I mean, there's like preliminary paperwork, and a lot of times, like you'll have like the final thing signed or whatever there, and then brought. I don't know exactly how. I mean, people might do it differently too.
That makes sense.
But the important thing is like probably all that money was spent already.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Which is another reason not to spend that much on it, because you never know.
Which is another
well, how long
reason
have they
to not
been
get married?
Well, yeah. I mean, I could go on a whole list about that if you like. But how long have they been together?
I have no idea. I don't know who these people are. This is just a story that my friend told me, just because I had asked her how the wedding had gone with the with the person from high school, and she said that one was fine, and then she brought up the other wedding that didn't work out.
Weddings. Who needs them? Can't live with them, can't live without them, you know?
Dude, but the other thing, your rude guy kind of reminded me of. But this one is, I was definitely in the wrong here. It's just because I was a kid. I just thought this guy was an asshole. But I was in New York with my family, and I want to say we're at like 30 Rock, but I don't think it was 30 Rock.
Tina Fey comes out and she's like, be polite.
How old are you? 6. That makes sense. There's like this spider statue thing, and I'm leaning on one of the spider's legs. So the security guard like came up to me and he's like, "Don't touch it." But it was kind of he kind of did it with an attitude. So I was just like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. Stop touching it, and he's like, he's still, he's like walking around the statue area, and he's facing me, but not looking at me, but he's facing me, and he's walking backwards. I don't know why. He's just walking backwards, and he trips over a bench, and I'm like, yeah, fuck you.
And he gets a concussion, and later in the hospital, he died. Epic win.
Giant spider attacks, man.
He was walking backwards, and then all of a sudden the spider statue came to life and envenomed him.
Be polite, Jesus.
It's like such a like. I feel almost lame telling this story because I'll say this like, oh, you know, this guy was trying to fight me at this wedding.
Well, just that's what will make the the title. Story time. Man tries to
Fight
fight at a wedding.
Fight at a wedding? Question. Cops called. Emotional in parentheses. But like, I don't know. I mean, people will escalate things as far as you let them escalate it. Generally, I don't know. I try to avoid all conflict in most cases, just because like I had enough of that growing up. Like I don't need to fight more now. It's just so like people are, I don't know. I guess some people didn't have to deal with just like people constantly being aggressive when they were kids, and so like they want to do it now. But I can't be starting fights and shit. Like life's too short.
Get in the fight, make it shorter.
Yeah. This guy says be polite and I stab him. Why'd you make me do it? Standing over his body, and the whole wedding party is like, what the fuck?
He took my seat.
Oh my god. His wife's like, I'm yours now. Just some tribal shit. He was telling me about how he used to walk around on campus with a machete in his bag.
What the fuck?
I don't remember exactly why he was saying that.
This guy's just an otter.
Yeah.
He's an otter.
Otter. No, otters are cute.
It's true.
This guy had that. Well, no, I'm not gonna fucking roast him anyway. Yeah, I remember he said something about like he used to carry on a machete on campus or something. I just told him, well, you'd be better off with a gun. And he was like taken aback or something. I don't know if he was like maybe he's anti-gun or something. But he was like, oh no, I didn't have one of those. It's like you're kind of around a machete. Like you're not in Vietnam, dude. Like fucking thick ass jungles.
Something about a machete is almost more unsettling.
Well, yeah, I mean, in general, like bladed weapons, in a way, are a lot creepier than guns are.
Yeah. At least guns are modern.
Yeah. Oh, it's so old and creepy. A knife, ew.
He walks around campus with a machete, and then that song from Pocahontas comes on. Is savages, savages.
Wait, this motherfucker went to Colombia. Like, I don't know. I can't remember what we were talking about exactly.
Maybe he meant.
Maybe he was talking about where he was living or something. Yeah. He graduated from a university in Colombia.
Where he
but he
to
just
carry
says
out
Colombia now to try to
machete.
look. Yeah. That makes more sense now. People, man. Like that shit's definitely just gonna stick with me. Even though it was like the most inconclusive shit ever or whatever, but um, it's just like I always remember shit like that. Oh, and that was the other thing too. So it's funny because I got invited to this wedding like months back or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like 2 months or something. I can't remember. But um, on Friday, which was the day of, while I was at work, this girl was saying like, "Oh man, I need to pick up a card for tonight." I'm like, "A card? Why?" And then she reminded me because I completely fucking forgot that like people give gifts at weddings. I'm like,
Oh
oh, I fucking went out. Um, it's funny because like the only thing nearby that I figured to have them was Whole Foods,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and so I went there, and so like of course the card was like expensive as fuck for no reason. Um, so I just like put money in or whatever, but I was like, oh, close call.
You just get like an envelope with money.
Yeah, it was like a wedding card or whatever, and then
Oh.
I just like wrote some stuff in there, and it was like there was like this box to drop it off, but the box to drop it off, like the gifts and stuff, wasn't until we were inside,
Uh-huh.
and so for like half the night, I was just holding an envelope.
It's when my sister got married. Well, with Indonesians, you have like a big box at the entrance of the wedding, basically, and people can just drop off the money there. We don't
Yeah.
really do like gifts. Like people buy toasters and whatever for newly
Right,
married
right.
couple, right? It's just money here, which is honestly probably better for a newly married couple.
Yeah, that's better, honestly.
So you drop off the money into the box. Once the wedding was over, we're all counting, and it's funny. Like, a lot of envelopes were basically, well wishes. Some of them just didn't have a name on it because you don't really want to know. So some people like have that. It's like a privacy thing. We gave you this much. You don't really necessarily have to know it was us,
Right.
because then you kind of the next time it rolls around for them, we have to match what they do. But some people just put in their business card.
Just their business card?
Well, it would be the business card in the envelope and the money.
Oh. Huh. So it's like strictly just the name. Gotta take credit from it somehow, I guess. Yeah, just in case you ever need roofing repair. Call me, but also you'll have to pay full price.
If someone leaves he's a divorce lawyer.
Oh, that would be good. Fucking, you get a discount if it's within the first 30 days of marriage.
The guy you sat with probably gave them a knife or something.
I don't think he fucking gave him a gift at all. Just came there and ate the food. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend any more energy on this guy.
You just want positive energy now.
Do positive vibes only, like I said in episode 9, and then immediately stopped doing.
I don't think
fact,
we
that
ever
was
really
sort of-
started, honestly.
Yeah, that was sort of the purpose of the episode, was to ironically say that.
All right, positive vibes. Let's talk about the most positive thing that came out this week. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Gotta go fast.
Oh,
I think he does say that in the trailer as well.
I think he did. Not like that though. I think it was more dramatic.
So yeah, the new trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out. I think it was this past week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he doesn't really look like Sonic, and that's the main issue people have with it. also the fact that it's set on Earth with real humans.
Yeah.
I didn't really mind that part of it, honestly. Like that he's on Earth and interacting with people.
I have a problem with, well, first of all, how he looks, of course.
Yeah.
And I do have an update for that. But um, it's just like, I mean, I think it's probably for kids. I don't really, I mean, not really.
What kid
I
plays
don't,
Sonic though nowadays?
yeah, kids don't really know Sonic, but, well, I mean, they probably do just because of like using, he's in other games as well. But um, it's just like very generic, like sort of kids movie formula of like this military slash government is trying to stop this non-human creature
Right.
thing, and like you've got Eggman, played by fucking Jim Carrey. Um,
I thought that was like the best part of the trailer.
we have very different tastes. Um,
He seems like he's having
the,
fun with the role.
the whole time I'm just thinking about how like this dude went on like a reawakening and was
Oh
like
yeah,
going on
there's
all
that.
these talk shows talking crazy, and he was saying like nothing fucking matters, dude. And now he's playing fucking Eggman in this shit movie. Um,
Oh, well, actually, he's
and like
playing Dr. Robotnik.
right, um, and I don't know. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, I tend to be pretty cynical anyway, but like it was just super generic. Obviously, his character is just annoying, which is sort of the character. But when he's talking to that general and he's like, I can't remember what the fuck he says, but it just tells him to shut up a bunch of times. Um, and then whoever that generic actor man is, I can't remember, who pointed a gun at Sonic the Hedgehog.
James Marsden,
Um,
Cyclops.
yeah, Cyclops. um, like going into the barn and Sonic in there and he's screaming. I'm just like, this fucking sucks. I was so like, I think me and my brother watched the trailer together, and normally we'll talk about it afterwards or whatever. When the trailer was done, I just said I don't want to talk about it. I was just like, I don't even care that much about Sonic. Like, it's not really a franchise I care about that much. But it's just like, it just doesn't feel like it has a soul.
No,
It's just like you can
probably
take
not.
so many movies that are just the same thing, where it's like plop in this unusual character, and then there's this military group who's trying to take them down, and they got to learn to work with him, probably take down the bad guy. That's how it's going to go. And then also we could talk about how Sonic looks really fucking stupid.
Well, they're gonna change that.
Well, exactly. That was going to be my follow up. Is that they were actually paying attention to. It's kind of sad that that's people's main criticism, because like my criticism would probably be that just like it's a very generic plot, at least what they're showing so far, um, and also like it's on Earth, and like he's the only like non-human thing. Um, but yeah, apparently they're going to change it. I don't know how much they could change it. I wonder how much they worked on it already.
So what I found out was I follow John Campea on YouTube. He's like in the movie biz. He's been in the movie biz for a while. Covers a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm.
He says when it comes to like replacing animation, it's similar. Well, he's obviously simplifying it a lot, but he says it's similar to going on a Word document and, for example, you've been spelling a word wrong the entire time. You'd be searching, replacing that word with whatever word you're going to put in to replace it.
Right.
So he says when people make the argument that, oh, you're going to overwork the animation staff or CGI staff, whatever, and it's going to be a rush product, he says when it comes to that part of it, he says it's probably going to be all right.
Well, yeah, I mean, animation isn't like it used to be. Like people don't have to people don't have to individually work on every frame.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like that. I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm sure they have just like basically the wireframe, and then they can just sort of retexture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends how much they change how he looks, really. Um,
There was another
but
point he brought up that I thought was actually a pretty good point. He said that um, the studio shouldn't have caved to what the audience said.
like artistic integrity or what?
Basically, like, yeah, you have this vision for these characters. You should stick to this vision. And then he compared it to, um, like, when people get outraged at casting, which he acknowledges a whole different thing. But it's a similar principle, sticking to your guns.
Why isn't Sonic a person of color?
I mean, he's blue.
Gotta go fast.
I just thought it was an interesting point, because on the one hand, it's like, it's cool that they're listening to the audience, but also then it's them saying, yeah, we fucked up, and if nothing had been said, then we would have just kept it that way.
I mean, I could see an argument for not changing it, but at the same time, we'll also think about how they have, you know, they have pressure from not only fans, but also like Sega cares about this brand, right? Um, so if it's not being represented properly,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be a problem. Um, so I could sort of understand, and I think it's a good thing overall. I think there needs to be a line, obviously. I mean, so you change how this character looks, and all of a sudden people are going to say, and also I want, also you have to change this, and they'll find something else to be outraged about. But I think there was a big enough reaction, and I think the guy, the director, I think it was, he was on Twitter. Um, he saw that enough to say like, okay, the fans want him to be like more of what they're actually used to, and not like this. The problem was like they tried to go for sort of realistic,
Yeah, sort of
um,
humanoid
sort of like a
characteristics.
humanoid animal kind of thing
Yeah,
that looked really weird. Instead of doing like a more cartoony thing,
yeah.
which is a hard balance because when you've got this CG character in a largely um, real life movie, that's hard. That's a hard balance to strike, but um, I think it's a good thing overall. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still won't watch it. So
Well, it's just like, compare the animation job of what we saw in the Sonic trailer versus what we see in the Detective Pikachu trailer. Because they get all the Pokemon right in that trailer.
yeah, they definitely. I mean, in that they definitely go for a style,
Yeah.
but it's still very true to the source material,
Yeah, and they also go
I
with
guess.
a more interesting storyline.
Yes, I think.
Seems
I don't
like
know.
it. Like, it's
I
just
still
an
have
odd concept.
reservations about. Yes. Um, but I mean, overall, yeah. I mean, the general aesthetic of the whole thing is much better.
Yeah.
Um,
And Deadpool voices Pikachu.
but that's a double edged sword because, like, immediately I kind of get sick of that
uh-huh.
because it's sort of like, okay, it's Ryan Reynolds being funny again.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get it. I don't know if I want my Pikachu to be like constantly witty and one upping this guy, but um, I mean, it's such a bizarre concept that it's hard to even have an opinion on it because, like, it really hasn't been done this way before.
Yeah, you kind of have to wait and see, really.
Yeah, but no, I mean, uh, I have much more expectations of the Detective Pikachu movie than I do for the Sonic movie, even after the changes. Um, but I don't think I feel like a grumpy old man, but like I don't know how into the whole. Um, what if Pokemon were in the real world? That would be a good movie. Like it's sort of like like I don't no, I don't really care about that. But I think they're making the right moves to make it a successful movie.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Seems like it, honestly.
I get maybe. I mean, maybe the creators of the Sonic movie sort of saw that and sort of was like, okay, so I should make Sonic sort of gritty and realistic looking. And then they created this monster. uh, that's a big issue too. Is like Sonic, he has like his eyes.
Uh-huh.
You know, like in the games and whatever, like they're sort of like connected,
Yeah, exactly.
and they just have that ridge. So it's hard to translate that to like a 3D space. And more specifically, I mean, he's been in 3D space before, obviously, but more specifically into like a high resolution movie.
Yeah, also the fact that Sonic has just a gigantic head compared to the rest of his body.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so. Oh man, he looks so bizarre in that trailer. Like, as much as I could say, like, there is something to be said about sticking to your guns and just following your vision through.
Yeah.
And not getting feedback after a certain point and just completing that vision. On the other hand, he looked so fucking bad. Like, I feel like it's the right choice to change him.
I'm gonna send you a picture I saw. Someone put Sonic's face on Pikachu and put Pikachu's face on Sonic.
I've actually seen pictures of like people fixing Sonic themselves.
Actually looks pretty decent. When they fix it.
Yeah.
Pikachu with Sonic's face is fucking terrifying.
I'm waiting.
Sent it. It's not sending though. It's got one tick. Not two ticks. There we
go. Ugh.
You know what Pikachu looks like, actually? He looks like a dog you'd see on like a Disney Channel animated movie.
I was about to say, yeah, this Sonic actually looks kind of cute. But it's probably just because I can't see his deformed legs.
And because of the way they do his
like
eyes
Seth
here.
Rogen.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm seeing. I don't know why. I'm thinking of Goofy when I see Pikachu.
Gorge. That's bizarre. I'm going to stop looking at this now. Yeah, it's been a thing though, especially recently. Like, I guess because movies are getting more ambitious in their use of CG, but people tend to have a lot of opinions about these characters who are entirely or a large part CG. Like I remember, Alita Battle Angel. People were complaining about that at first. Because they thought like her eyes were too big. I mean, even though her eyes are big in the... There's an anime, right?
Probably. A manga?
I think it was.
Was it an anime?
Maybe both? Let me look it up.
Oh, it's considered a cyberpunk film? I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Manga. Yeah, it's based on a manga. I don't think there was an anime. Maybe there was, but it's based on the manga, according to Wiki.
It's still in theaters?
It's a pretty popular movie.
Also, that actress is like... probably one of the most attractive actresses that I know of.
Yeah?
I don't like her as much with the short hair, but yeah, she's cute. I've seen her in a lot of things. I can't
I
remember
don't like her as much when
everything.
she's not CG'd.
I just want an anime girl. This is ugh.
It's so funny though. It's so true that so many Japanese stories, main character has some sort of amnesia.
Oh, is that the story of this?
Yeah, Alita has amnesia.
I mean, it's a convenient way to start the protagonist on the same level as the audience.
That's
Coming in
true.
knowing nothing, while still having a backstory that can be revealed.
Yeah.
But it's very overdone.
Yeah. I mean, Goku had amnesia all the time because he kept dying or whatever.
And Goku's one of the greatest cinematic characters.
Yeah, especially the live action one. I was
Oh
watching
man,
like a review of that recently, and it was so funny how they point out like the animated Dragon Ball. Goku's lifelong ambition is to be a fighter. He wants to fight. He wants to become the greatest fighter ever. And then in the live action movie, he's a fucking high school kid who wants to get laid.
relatable. Yeah, I never watched the live action. I mean, I haven't really watched Dragon Ball Z since like I was like 10 or maybe I don't know.
They're all on
Young.
YouTube.
Oh yeah. It's just not appealing to me at this point to try to watch any of it.
There was another trailer that caught my eye. It's I don't know if you saw it. I think it's probably more of a British movie. Maybe not actually. It's called Blinded by the Light, named after the Bruce Springsteen song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about this like Pakistani family who moves to the UK. And this kid's trying to get assimilated, right? He's trying to fit into the culture. And his parents want him to be a doctor or lawyer or whatever. He wants to be a writer. And then one of his friends like shows him a Springsteen album. And he like falls in love with the music, and he wants to express his free spirit and all that. So it's like the whole soundtrack is all Springsteen. He dresses like Springsteen and everything.
This is just your story, Ray.
I'm not from Pakistan.
What?
I just thought it was such a weird concept. I'm like, apparently it's like a bit inspired by this true story.
I mean, I'm sure someone's lived that life.
You should see the trailer. It's like pretty funny.
Is it meant to be funny, or is it like?
I mean, there are definitely comedic aspects to the movie. Biography, comedy, drama. In 1987, during the austere days of Thatcher's Britain, a teenager learns to live life, understand his family, and find his own voice through the music of Bruce Springsteen.
Find his own voice through the voice of another person. Pathetic. You know you're gonna watch it though, just because Springsteen.
I might. I'm not gonna watch
You'll
it.
probably.
In the
You'll probably pirate it.
yeah, I'll probably pirate it.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go watch Alita. I don't know.
I think Alita is worth watching. A lot of people are
Yeah.
like, Alita was the better female superhero compared to Captain Marvel.
I mean, she wasn't a superhero, was she?
Who? Alita?
No, Captain Marvel. No, yeah, Alita.
She kind of is.
Well, she's like a. You watched it, right?
Yeah, I watched it.
Is she supposed to be a cyborg, or is she entirely robot?
Cyborg, I think.
It's a part robot.
Part robot.
So you're saying I could still fuck her?
Oh yeah, she feels everything.
Ooh. So she's got a one up on me then. After that surgery, you know, I can't feel nothing.
Oh, I thought you meant like emotionally.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, Cyborg. Although, like, I wasn't sure if any part of her was human, really.
I'm worried about a couple of specific parts.
Oh, just the brain. Just the brain that's human.
Damn. That's the worst part. I'm mostly joking.
Wait, have you seen it, or did you read the story? So you know the story already?
No, I don't. I don't know the story. I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. I won't spoil it for you then.
I was about to say. I hope asking that wasn't a spoiler.
So asking what?
If she was a robot or a human or what.
No. You definitely. It's like the first scene that you know she's a robot or cyborg.
God, I spoiled the first scene.
Yeah, I didn't really have interest in the movie, but we just saw. I just went and saw it with my friends, and no, it's a good time.
I mean, the trailer looked kind of fun. This is now the trailer show, by the way, where we talk about months-old movies. But like the trailer where they're doing like the roller derby type thing.
Yeah.
That looked kind of fun.
Did you ever see Not Another Teen Movie?
No, I don't think so.
You should. It's so dumb.
Oh, maybe I did actually.
Yeah, it's the one with Chris Evans. He plays the popular high school jock.
I mean, these movies all bleed together.
All right. Well, it's a parody film, right? Of all teen movies. So Chris Evans, I forget what movie. It's one of the Molly. I think it's a Molly Ringwald movie where, the jocks make a bet with each other about who can bring the ugliest girl to prom or something, and who can make the ugliest girl prom queen.
Who can make the ugliest girl prom king?
And they make fun of the fact that they always go for like the geeky girl, who's played by a beautiful actress, but they just like tie up her hair in a ponytail and give her glasses.
Right, put glasses on her, yeah.
Like her makeover scene was literally just the girl took off the ponytail and took off the glasses. We're done. But so Chris Evans is the jock, and he has a sister, and he's asking his sister for help, but his sister's in love with him.
In love with him?
Yeah, in love with her brother, the character, who is her brother. And she says she'll only help him if he fucks her. And the whole time I think the whole time in the movie, like the running joke for her is she wants someone to shit on her chest.
Oh, that's why you're bringing this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're at prom, and then she starts crying about how she wants something real. She doesn't want to be the one shitting on guys' chests anymore. She wants to find a guy who can shit on her chest.
That's beautiful.
And then this guy just goes, "That is disgusting. The fact that no one would shit on your chest? I would happily do that for you."
Classic bait and switch.
It's a fun movie. They got prom going on, and Good Charlotte's the live band.
Oh.
And everyone's like dancing. And it cuts to this guy in the party, and he's just like, "It's funny how all these high school kids are professional dancers."
And also 20-something years old.
Yeah, that's